A certified genealogist, Seema Kenny, is coming to the Thomas Crane Public Library this month. A presentation on Monday, January the 29th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. This is a genealogy workshop, U.S. Census reports, but she joins us right now to tell us a little bit about herself and about this special presentation. So Seema, very nice to meet you via Skype. Good to chat with you, and this sounds like a really interesting story. First of all, tell us, if you can, a little bit about your background and how you became a certified genealogist.
Well, I grew up in Connecticut. I moved to Massachusetts when I got married, and I don't know, about 5 or 6 years ago, I guess, when, oh, maybe a little more than that, when my children all left the nest for college, I found myself literally twiddling my thumbs, wondering what to do. And I went back to an old hobby, which was genealogy, and delved right into the deep end of the pool, as they say. I took a class from Boston University that I was able to do on my computer, which generated a certificate. But let me just be clear that I'm not a certified genealogist. There's a difference between having a certificate and being a certified genealogist.
Oh, okay.
I know it's a slight thing, but it's a big deal for those that are a certified genealogist that I not say that I am when I'm not. So I was there. I was at Quincy last month, I believe it was, maybe the end of October, and did one talk. We had a very large group there, so I'm looking forward to coming back and moving along the path here and talking about a specific record source that we use for genealogy.
Okay, in your research, did you learn anything interesting about your own family background?
Oh, well, I have taken my paternal grandmother back to somewhere in the early 1600s in America. If I can find the right records, I might connect her to the Mayflower, but I'm not sure that that's ever going to happen, so we shall see. But I found some interesting stories. I found that, Indian story that everybody in New England claims to have in their past. I have an ancestor who was actually captured by the Indians and taken to Canada. Not sure I believe all the stories about his heroics, because we know how that goes, but it's great to have that story anyway. And I'm working now on trying to add more to my maternal grandmother and my paternal grandfather, who happens to be Swedish, so it presents a few more problems than doing American research.
So talk to us a little bit about this presentation. What will you be doing? What should folks expect? What should they bring if they would like to have you look into their background?
Well, census reports are one of those things that everybody pretty much can find them. They're fairly easy to get a hold of. They're public documents, so they don't cost anything to get a copy of. And the thing we find with a lot of people who get started in genealogy is, yes, they find the census reports, but all they do is look at the part where the names are listed and say, oh, I found great-grandma when she was, 2. There was somebody on one of the shows this week on TV. It was like that was her I think it was a great-great-grandmother at 1 day old was on the census, so she just made it. But it's important to read the whole rest of the page. It's important to read all the columns and all that wonderful information that's in there. It can tell you an awful lot more about your ancestors' life than just who lived in the house with them. So this presentation is really to talk about all the other interesting things that you can find in the census, and then I'm going to combine it with what used to be a separate program on other sources that you can go to because of what you found on the census. There's, I don't know, I think close to 20, or maybe even more than 20 that I counted earlier. Other types of records that, because of something you read on the census, you might decide, I need to go look at these records and get more information.
Okay, so is it your help to inspire folks to, learn more about their family background and maybe follow your path in genealogy as well?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there are so many people in the United States right now that are looking into their family history because of various TV shows and, of course, all the commercials, do your DNA test and all that.
Right.
But if you don't know what kind of records to look at or which records can give you some information to fill in those gaps between birth, marriage, and death, you don't have the whole story. And, it's important to get those details and understand the struggles and the accomplishments of those ancestors who got you to this point.
Yeah, it's curious. The federal census, as you know, is done every 10 years. So if someone had done theirs the past census, should they do it again? Would there be a change, do you think?
Oh, absolutely. There are, I actually have an ancestor who is listed twice in one of the censuses. You know, it's like any form you fill out, people don't always follow the directions.
Right.
So I do have a great-great-great-grandmother, I forget which, who was listed once in the census in Maine and 3 days later in the census in Massachusetts for the same year. They obviously didn't listen to the question that said, who was in your house at this date?
Right.
And obviously she wasn't in both places at the same date. So you never know what can happen. People move, and the census is one of the ways to track where they've moved to and from. And other things change about them, their occupation. You can get, and you know, each federal census asks different questions. So you get different information depending on which one you look.
Okay.
You know, the one that certainly if you're tracing women, the one that's really handy to find, and I don't have the date off the top of my head, but is the one where it asks a woman, how many children have you had and how many are living today? That's a big clue to, you know, what a family looked like at a given point in time, and making sure that you really do have all the children listed.
Now, for folks who have, you know, a family that originated overseas, in Europe or in Asia, are you able to track their histories as well?
Well, the federal census will give you, depending again which one it is, there are certain ones that ask about immigration. You know, when did you arrive in the country?
Okay.
Did you become a naturalized citizen? Have you started to become a naturalized citizen? So again, this is all information that a lot of people don't look at on the census because they get so excited about finding the names.
Sure.
And we want to look at those other parts and see what else we can find.
Okay, so here at the library, I'm picturing you'll bring a computer with you and track folks, or how will that work?
Oh, I will have a computer. It'll be a PowerPoint presentation for an hour.
Okay.
Talk about, you know, the dates of the census, how it was taken. We'll look at the different columns on different censuses, and we'll talk some more about all these other records that you could go and find in various places to get that extra information and just to verify that the census is accurate. Because there are people who lied, surprisingly.
Very good. We look forward to your presentation, and really thank you for spending some time here to tell us a little bit about it.
Oh, thank you for accommodating my schedule.
You're very welcome. And again, that is a genealogy workshop, the U.S. Census Reports, coming up at the Thomas Crane Public Library, Monday, January 29th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. with Seema Kenny. So if you'd like to learn more about this or other programs at the library, just go to their website, thomascranelibrary.org.